Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Cluett.
And I gotta tell you, ever since 1999, when I saw this film in the theater, I was working in the theater at the time, I was 17, I thought to myself, it's gonna be my goal in life to make sure this film gets an honorary Academy Award. And this is a good first step, Jay.
I think so. I think it's going to be tricky. They tend to do the awards of the year the films come out. But I reckon there'll be a reappraisal. You do get the kind of honourable mention awards. That's how Hitchcock got his. He got his lifetime achievement. We can get a lifetime achievement award for Deep Blue Sea.
I have been working really hard at it too. I mean, I've been just writing as much as I can, trying to share the love of this. And I'm so glad that we've decided to tackle this film because I love Deep Blue Sea.
How can you not? I feel like the best way to share the love of Deep Blue Sea is to do a real deep dive analysis of it.
This movie's been really good for me in regards of writing because I write for Rotten Tomatoes, I write for Movies, Films, and Flicks, and we have the Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast. Back in 2017, I was writing weird data about Deep Blue Sea, about how far Stellan Skarsgård traveled and all that. And Brian Raftery, who's a big fan of Deep Blue Sea, he's a writer for Wired, he interviewed me for Wired about my Deep Blue Sea data. And then at Rotten Tomatoes, they're big fans of Deep Blue Sea, so I wrote the 20th anniversary piece last year. And then AV Club shared some of my stuff on the 20th anniversary. And I've just been promoting this film because it's just now 60% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And there's a weird mystique about it that it was covered on How Did This Get Made, other episodes. Honest Trailers did a scathing trailer for it. It's a good movie. This is not a so bad it's good. So my goal on this is just to share our love of this and let people know this isn't a so bad it's good. This is a so good it's good film.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. It's a great movie. I have no problems with it at all. I can understand people thinking some areas are a little silly. I'm sure we will cover those throughout the podcast as we get to them. But for the most point, it's a very entertaining film that I don't know how many times you've seen it. I've seen it many, many times. I know I'm never not happy to just chuck it on and watch and spend the next hour and 45 minutes enjoying people being killed by sharks in numerous ways.
And over the last 20 years, I find something new every time we watch that. And so these 33 episodes that we're going to do. So each episode is a chapter from the DVD. So
yes,
they're 3-minute we're covering sections that are 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. It's just whatever the chapter is.
There's one that's about 1 minute, I think. I think Preacher's Legacy is just under a minute.
Oh, I love that.
Which we'll get there. That's 23 weeks away. But yeah, we're not doing Deep Blue Sea Minute. There are, for those listeners who don't know, there are many Movies by Minutes podcasts. It was where they cover 1 minute of a film at a time. It was founded by, I think there's two podcasts who started at the same time, or roughly the same time. There's Guttables, which did the Big Lebowski 1 minute at a time, spending about 2 hours rambling per minute, which is interesting. And Star Wars Minute founded the whole Movies by Minutes craze, I think. So Pete and Alex at Star Wars Minute are kind of the godfathers of this project. One of them is now doing the Godfather Minute, actually.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of that. But if listeners out there like the sound of covering movies in minute detail, then head over to moviesbyminutes.com, where there's hundreds, I think 161 is, at the time of recording, the current count for podcasts out there covering films minute at a time, scene at a time. I think one of them is doing the Fast and the Furious franchise a quarter movie at a time. So yeah, they're not all doing the same. There's a Seinfeld Minute. Just good luck to them, covering every episode of Seinfeld 1 minute at a time.
I've been really into the Postman Minute about the Kevin Costner film.
I mean, I know you're kidding, Mark, but you say it and someone will do it. The general rule is if you head over to Movies by Minutes and the podcast and the film you want to cover isn't there, you got to start doing it. You know, listeners, take heed. You should go there, but be warned, you may have to start your own podcast by the time you leave.
I'm so happy to be covering this film, though. This is one of my favorites. So this movie, you know, this was the first DVD I ever bought. I have it in my hands right now. It's cardboard. It has that little plastic opener. The front calls this movie Bigger, Smarter, Faster, Meaner, which makes sense.
It's the Daft Punk song.
And then then the back, oh yeah. And then the back says adrenaline-pumped shockwaves. I agree.
Oh, it's not the same as mine.
But I don't know, this is just coming out of sheer love from us. Because on Movies, Films, and Flicks, you and I had talked about this movie. On Movies, Films, and Flicks, I recorded a commentary for it by myself. So you can listen to a comment. And it was very awkward. Very, very awkward to do. It was
You
one of
kept
the
interrupting yourself.
Yeah, it was one of the most stressful things I've ever done. But I just know this movie backwards and forwards, and I know a lot of people love it too. When you bring it up, there's always fans.
And you've listed all the history that you have with the podcast, with the film, all of your criteria. I'm just a fan. I just really like the film. I didn't see it in '99 when it came out. I was first shown it. My neighbor first showed me a particular scene that everyone knows. He just fast forwarded back on. May have been a VHS. He may well have actually fast forwarded it to the correct scene, showed it to me, and that was my introduction to Deep Blue Sea. Was the monologue, the abruptly ending monologue halfway through the film, and I didn't think about it for a year. I was like, oh, that was fine. That was entertaining. And eventually my sister bought a stereo system. It came with a bunch of free DVDs. One of them was Deep Blue Sea. She didn't want any of them, so she sold it to me because that's my sister. She doesn't just give you things she doesn't want. She sold it to me. And I've just loved it ever since.
Oh,
and it's nice. Again, still the same cardboard falling apart copy. Has there been a Blu-ray release of Deep Blue Sea?
Oh yeah, there has been. I have that too.
Okay. I need to get that.
I'm going to own every edition of Deep Blue Sea. I have to.
Get on Laserdisc.
Oh, I've been trying, but I cherish this DVD, so I keep it around. I watch it. I love it. And I think it's perfect that we're starting with the first scene, the shark wrangling, good and plenty scene, because I always thought this was the weakest moment in the film. I just thought to myself, this seems very generic. I don't know who these four people are. I don't know what this shark is doing. It just seems, I never liked it. But the more I watched it and the more I wrote about it and the more I did data, I love this scene now because all right, so the gist of this scene are four people who are on a boat. They're partying. I guess they just went out there to kind of hang out, date night. They have grapes, they have cheese, they have crackers, they have bread. I did some I freeze framed it. They have some Mondavi red wine.
Oh, I couldn't work out what the wine was. Yeah. Good effort there.
So they have some they went out. They got some Tecate beer. This is a nice night, and they're all having fun. And one thing I like about these four is that I actually have their names down here. It's Girl 1, Girl 2, Man 1, Man 2. And so I found out that Girl 1 is Aaron Bartlett, Girl 2 is Sabrina Gearinks, Boy 2 is Dan Thiel, and Boy 1 is Isle Podal. And if you don't...
I'm pretty sure that... Girl 1 calls Boy 1 Ian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Ian.
So, but he's not credited as that. That could just be an ad lib. I don't know, or a weird laugh she has. But I swear I heard the name Ian.
But I love that. I did some research, and Boy 1, he actually came up with the story for Cars 3. He has an uncredited writer thing on Smallfoot. He wrote Angry Birds, the Angry Birds movie 2. He came up with the story for Scoob, and he just wrote a screenplay called Juliet that James Mangold of Ford vs. Ferrari is going to direct.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and he plied his trade working. I mean, he's done every job, ER, soaps, all that stuff. But now he's an established writer of kids' films.
I didn't scroll past his acting career, so I didn't imagine, this is the guy who wrote the story for Cars 3, the best Cars film.
So yeah, he moved up from this, which is probably a great story. And I like that you know what I like about these four? So they're out there just to have fun, but you watch some of these movies. Let's think about Shark Night, for instance. Two people go out and a girl gets killed by a shark. These four, they seem like genuinely nice kids. They're kind of drunk. They're just sort of having fun, but there's no maliciousness. They're never on screen that long, but they're never, I don't know, I like them. I don't dislike these four.
There's a little cheesiness to them with, when Boy 1 and Girl 2 are kind of, did you feel something? I felt something. But yeah, it's a bit of a line, a bit of a kind of a player move. So I can imagine not exactly liking the guy, hanging around with them if that would be the case. But yeah, they just seem like they're fairly innocent. They're just trying to have a fun time we assume they know the owner of this boat. Maybe it's one of their parents' boats. Perhaps they stole it. We don't know. I'm puzzled by the wine being on there because firstly, the wine is open, but no one appears to be drinking it. Everyone's drinking the cans of beer or the cans of lager. So, and these four don't strike me as wine drinkers. They don't strike me as people that would bring a prepared plate of bread, cheese, and grapes to this boat make-out session. I reckon they stole the boat, and it had the wine, had the bread and the cheese on it. That's my theory. Wow,
that's wild. They seem, I don't know, I think maybe they rented this or had it. They seemed at home on the boat. They seem to know it. And
they're just on the deck. How well do you need to know these flat surfaces they're making out on?
And they also have wine and cheese on the boat. I think they wanted to make a night of it. So they bought the wine to most likely play a role. So, oh, hey, we have cheese and crackers. We might as well get wine. But it seems like most of the beer has been consumed. And one thing I like, though, when guy 1 is caught, like, he's like, I felt something. Girl 2 looks at him and says, you're an idiot if you put on CC. And then they just laugh about it. So they seem to be somewhat close to each other. He says that stupid line. She calls him on it. Then they laugh about it. So I think that gives them a little bit more humanity than, I guess, like stock bros on a boat, I think. I mean,
yeah, it's not Donkey Punch.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, let's do that movie next.
That's not.
Every 30 seconds of that film.
No.
Oh my gosh. But no, I listen, and another part I liked about this is they shot this movie in Rosarito, Mexico on the gigantic tanks that James Cameron had built for Titanic. And one of my favorite aspects lately of horror that I've really loved are the bird's eye view shots. So I love the opening bird's eye view shot. I mean, they're in a massive tank for this scene. They filled this up with water. They brought the boat in there. I think it looks great. I love the overhead shot. I think they do a good job just well, they also brought the CD player on there. They have a stuffed bunny. They're making a night of this thing. Like, they're having, as far as boat parties go, this one seemed like a fun one to be on. I see some parties in films where, like, I would not want to be there.
Yeah, this is very, very, other than being on a boat in the middle of the ocean, it's pretty low key. It's pretty just kind of an intimate group of friends who all know each other. They know why they're there. And it's not a big thing. It's just, they're just chilling out.
I gotta tell you, that wine being spilled, that's definitely the best pouring of wine or spilling of wine in any movie. I would say the thing that matches it is in American Reunion. There's a guy who pours wine in that, and he has an 80-yard line, says, tell me when. I think that's my favorite wine pouring ever. And that's an American Reunion. And because it's me. I was an extra on that. So yeah, if you ever see a guy pouring wine in that movie, just think about that, then think about Deep Blue Sea. I just want you to see a DVD copy or see American Reunion on TV and think of Deep Blue Sea. That's my goal.
And now I'm going to have to watch American Reunion just because you're in it. And just keep an eye out for a wine being poured.
And then Mark. They put dialogue in my mouth. Tell me when. That's what I could have gotten paid for that. But I mean,
join SAG.
And that'd be sweet. I almost got a line as a swim coach in another show. That was when my first ever job. They almost gave me a line, but I didn't know what it meant. I would have pushed for it more if I'd known that would have got me SAG. That was with water as well. But also, I like what Rennie Harlan had to say. He basically wanted to tell the audience in the commentary. He says, "I saw Jaws. This opening scene's a homage. I want us to be in on the same joke." So he wanted to start us off in somewhere familiar, then go somewhere really different, which I really like about that. He wanted to kind of maybe get us primed. Oh, we're expecting this, and then he went there. So do you think he was successful in these first 3 minutes of establishing that?
I do. It's a very standard horror movie opening of opening up on presumably college age kids hanging out and having a good time, and then the killer would show up and wipe them all out, or most of them, and maybe there'd be one survivor who runs off to the police. But everyone survives. No one dies in this opening scene. So it's a bait and switch.
I love that the rope is so long while they're pulling on it.
It is tied on right at the end, and the other side of the boat, they've got no way of getting up at all. They're trying to, it's like open water. They're just jumping up and trying to grab hold of the side, and they've got no chance. So if our hero, if Carter Burke didn't show up,
wait, Carter Blake.
Sorry, Carter Blake. Who's Carter Burke? I just immediately first name character I say I've got it wrong. This is the first time I've seen this film, guys. When Carter Blake shows up, then they've saved them. And normally in a standard horror film, that wouldn't happen. But this isn't a standard horror film. This is Deep Blue Sea.
And I got to tell y'all right now, a huge storm just broke out while we're recording this. And I think it's a really positive sign for this series because the storm breaks out in Deep Blue Sea as well.
So things don't go well in Deep Blue Sea when the storm breaks out. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, but I think this is a world telling me it's going to be all right.
Okay, let's believe that.
And I mean, I've watched Ghost Shark. That's not going to happen, so I don't have to worry. I'm safe here. I think we'll be all right.
But you mentioned the opening shot was the above the boat, the kind of the bird's eye view down. It's not. The opening shot is the logos. The logos are underwater. You've got Warner Brothers and you've got the Village Roadshow Pictures logos. They're under the water. So the first shot we see in the film is the shark's eye view. Oh, wait, the shark's POV is what we're introduced to. The shark's under the water, and the sharks are the heroes in this scene. Maybe in the film, is the film about the shark?
These sharks are not the villains.
No,
they want
Saffron Burrows is the villain.
This is the Shawshank Redemption, and they want out. I mean, they are being tested illegally. But that's why. Okay, so I'm looking at this